Welcome to Digital Nation, your weekly view of the UK through the lens of the local TV channels. In this week's show, we meet a young rock climber aiming high. We chat to an award-winning disabled blogger. And we discover a new twist of an old photographic technique. And you can contact us using the hashtag #DigitalNation. After receiving a mystery nomination, Martin Sibley has made the Power 100 list of influential people with a disability. And it's clear that his travel and news blogging success is driven by his adventurous spirit and determination. Let's head to Cambridge to meet the inspirational character that is both changing attitudes and raising awareness.
Martin Sibley is up for a full day ahead of him. This week for the travel blogger, who has spinal muscular atrophy, has been more full-on than most. He's beat people in entertainment, sport, business and politics to come third in the Power 100 list of the most influential people with a disability. It's an important award that has taken him by surprise.
Phenomenal. I didn't expect it. It was about 2 or 3 months ago I was told that someone had nominated me. I'm still not sure who put my name into the hat, but I was asked to give my sort of projects and achievements, so they could obviously then, with the judging panel, look at who was going to come where in the top 100. So I found out about a month later I was in that top 100, which was great. And then last week I found out I needed to give a quote for the media as I'd made the top 10. And then, number 3, I almost fell out my wheelchair. It was really amazing news.
From his home, he runs the news website Disability Horizons. He also travels the world to review holidays for those with disabilities. His adventurous spirit has helped him to see his own condition as a way of opening up the world to others with disabilities. He hopes that the award will enable him to inspire and press for greater inclusion of disabled people in society.
The biggest barriers, as the world is becoming more accessible with ramps and lifts, but the bigger barrier is prejudice and attitudes. And I think, people see disabled people as either sort of victims and there's the pity feeling, or the other extreme is that there's kind of triumph over tragedy. And really, most of us are in the middle. We're just trying to live a normal life, a fulfilled life. I've been plugging away for years, really trying to kind of inspire other disabled people, try and educate government and society on the reality, the ups and the downs of being disabled. And I think this list is a really powerful way of engaging people in that conversation.
We'll have to wait and see what adventure Martin has next in store. I hear there's a possibility of wedding bells in the future.
In the Oscar-winning film Braveheart, Mel Gibson played William Wallace. However, according to Scottish historians, the name actually applied to Robert the Bruce. In Glasgow, using modern technology, scientists have been able to give a more accurate image of what he looked like.
The story of Robert the Bruce is very much, he's the underdog, and that's why people like him so much. And I think that's why he survives so long after 700 years. His army, outnumbered almost 3 to 1, defeats the larger medieval army. And the very fact that he survives from when he should have been strung up along with William Wallace is the fact that people like him so much. He endures.
The cast of the skull that was found during that early discovery of the tomb in the 19th century. It's the only record we have of the physical features of the king.
So we worked on the cast of the skull, we laser scanned it, took that into our 3D computer system. About 70% of the surface has less than 2 millimetres of error. We don't know for definite his skin colour, his eye colour, his hair colour. We're doing best guess estimates really in terms of that. I think he's quite a strong character, he's very robust, very muscular.
I've only just seen it myself. I think we're all impressed. I think we all get a very strong picture of a very, very strong, determined king.
The image is exactly what I thought it would be. I always thought he'd be a muscular man, a bruiser, so to speak. He's no Brad Pitt, that's for sure. He's a battle-scarred veteran, a real medieval warrior. We've been telling the story of Bannockburn for the past 3 years in a digital format, and it just adds to the value of what we have here, and it enhances digital technology and a new way of interpreting the Battle of Bannockburn.
Visual 3D visualization, reconstruction. This is ideal for engaging the public in British and Scottish history.
Time to hit the gym now and meet the community volunteers winning awards for transforming the lives of local people. the Bristol Boxing Gym knocked out local opposition to scoop Community Club of the Year. And with a membership ranging from 5 to 50, it's clear that the dedication of volunteers is having a heavyweight impact.
Okay, Tom, I believe congratulations is in order.
It is.
You just won Community Club here of the Year at the Barton Hill Boxing Club.
Yeah.
How is everyone feeling after winning that?
Well, as you can see, everybody in the club is a volunteer, so it's for everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody's over the moon.
Yeah.
Just to get a little recognition like that is massive for us.
And when did you guys start this club here?
In 2007.
And it's just gone from strength to strength?
Yeah. I mean, we got over 500 kids a month coming through here now.
So this is your youngest class here behind us now.
Yeah.
What's the oldest sort of age range you go up to teaching here?
We got people that come up in their 50s training, but not boxing, but training, you know. On a Wednesday night we hold a vascular keep fit, and the coaches take that, and that's a mix of from young up to very old, you know.
But I'm guessing with it being such a vital part to the community, it's more than just a boxing gym, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great meeting place for the parents' evening, you know. We put on 4 shows a year if we can. It costs an awful lot of money to put on. And, you know, just to put on an average show costs us £2,000, you know. And we lose money on it, you know. I think we've only made it on 2, I think.
So what does it take to keep a club like this alive?
A lot of hard work, a lot of hard work and dedication from volunteers and from the kids. I mean, if they didn't like it, they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't keep coming back week after week.
Well, there's a lot of passion in here, and I can tell there's a lot of talent, and they're probably going to do great things with boxing.
Well, as long as they grow up and enjoy themselves and can respect people, our job's done.
Hanging upside down 20 feet in the air might not be some people's idea of fun, but the sport of indoor rock climbing is on the up. And with it becoming an Olympic recognised event from 2020, Made in Cardiff met a young participant who is setting her sights on the summit of her success.
I'm a rock climber, so I train 6 days a week for about 2 to 4 hours, and I just do it because I enjoy it. I was 5 years old when I started climbing. It was at a garlic festival where I first had a go on a mobile climbing wall with my family, and I topped my first route, which was really exciting, and then boulders opened when I came back home after the holiday, so I started doing NICAS and various clubs and boulders, and then I progressed on to competitions. I'm currently British champion for lead climbing and speed climbing, and second in bouldering. I prefer leading and bouldering, but speed is also really fun. I like to go for the overall in different competitions, so I like to have a go at speed, and it's just as fun as the others. Since climbing has got into the Olympics earlier this year, I really want to go to there and go to Tokyo for the 2020 Olympics, but it's a bit of a long shot, so we'll see.
To Oxford now, and there's a group of service users at a local community centre using modern film technology to develop important life skills and channel creativity. The film team spent 6 weeks learning all of the movie-making skills needed to shoot, edit and premiere 2 brand new films exploring their local area.
Hollywood comes to Oxford with crocodiles and the people of the local town Carterton, starring in 2 new films created by service users of Carterton Daytime Support at the Carterton Community Centre.
6 of the people that we support here took part in the workshops on a Wednesday afternoon over the summer, and today we are having a premiere showing both of the movies that were made.
The 6 people who took part have a wide range of support needs, including autism and mobility issues.
And the people here are really keen on creative arts and do a lot of things that aren't traditional to an old-fashioned day centre as such. So there's a lot of things that people like to get involved in that are creative, and this filming has been a fantastic project for the people involved.
Philip helped create the animation.
I've done some editing on the computer.
Was it difficult?
Yes, it was.
Did it take a long time?
Yeah. And I enjoyed it very much, thank you.
So you learnt how to edit?
Yeah.
What did you like about editing?
Well, that was really hard, that.
Did you have to cut bits out and change things around a bit?
I think they did, yeah.
John enjoyed the editing side of the films.
Well, we've done filming on about Carterton, and we've done sort of, say, out the front here, we had like where we all stood, and then there's a crocodile world outside down the road, which we were sort of having the crocodile sort of chasing us, and we were thinking to ourselves, oh my God, who's going to be eaten first? And then we thought, and then afterwards, that was it. And what we've done as well, we've took photos with main cameras, big cameras, and then iPads, and then edited it onto the computers. Some of the photos, we had to sort of do one shot first, and then stop, and then again, and then stop, and then again, and then stop.
And that brings us to the end of part 1 and time for our weekly quiz. In which Welsh seaside town is the Great Orme? Is it A, Llandudno, B, Rhyl, or C, Aberystwyth? We'll give you the answer after the break. Welcome back to Digital Nation. Now, before the break, we asked you, in which Welsh seaside town is the Great Orme? Did you guess it? Well, it was, of course, A, Llandudno. Yes, of course, the Great Orme is a prominent limestone headland on the north coast of Wales, named after the Viking word for sea serpent, which it's said to resemble. To Birmingham now, where the RSPCA are well known for taking care of our unwanted pets, whatever their size. But did you know they can also be a useful source of information of how to look after our own pets?
Temperatures have definitely dropped recently. Spare a thought for these guys. Often left outside or forgotten about, we caught up with RSPCA Inspector Hershey Bowl, who has dealt with many reports of animal suffering at this time of year.
Most of the risks that we get are with animals that are kept outdoors. So you've got dogs that are living outside in back gardens, tied to kennels. They can obviously suffer from hypothermia. You've also got risk of things like animals that go out on the ice. So we do deal with cats and dogs that sometimes go out on a lake or a river, that's frozen over.
So what advice would Hershey offer to pet owners keen to protect their beloved animals?
So it's all really about providing adequate shelter for your animals, so that certain animals that live outside all the time, like rabbits that are in hutches, what you want to be doing is bringing the hutch inside, maybe into a shed or a garage at this time of year, checking the water doesn't freeze over, checking the rabbit has enough bedding. They'll need a lot more bedding at this time of year. Again, with dogs, look at the age of your dog. If it's starting to get a bit elderly, ensure that you either bring it in for the winter or you need to provide, more blankets and more bedding. Obviously, if you don't have a cat flap and you've got a cat and your cat is outside all day, maybe think about providing it with some sort of shelter outside. So you could get a cardboard or a plastic box, put some blankets in there, leave your shed door open. Anyone's got a pond, please check it daily, make sure there's oxygen getting to it.
Back in the early days of photography, a pinhole camera was a simple way of recording an image. Often bulky, it was soon superseded by compact cameras, and more recently, the latest digital versions. So, when one artist in Brighton decided to experiment with a new twist of the original method, Latest TV took a look.
A few years ago, I met Justin Quinnell, who I learned how to make these solargraph cameras out of beer cans. And I sort of got this idea of trying to document the sort of iconic landmarks of the city.
How long does it take to take a picture with a pinhole camera?
Well, normally a pinhole camera you'd have an exposure time of a few seconds, and then you'd develop the image in chemicals. But what's really magic about these solargraph cameras is that you install them for up to 6 months, and the image is almost sort of like sunburnt onto the photographic paper that's inside the can. And when you pick the negative out of the camera, it's actually sort of formed, so you don't have to process it in any way, you just scan it.
So how did you manage to keep the camera in place for 6 months?
So I use cable ties and hope. Interesting thing is I put one up on a lamppost right in the middle of town, and when I came back, they'd actually painted the lamppost and painted very carefully around my pinhole camera, so they must have assumed it was supposed to be there.
I notice all your pictures have a curved line that look like stars to me. Is that what it is?
Well, it is a star, but it's our most familiar star, which is the sun, which is as we're going around the sun, and because the Earth is tilted in respect to the sun, you get these a band of light across the sky, which is the sun's tracks across from the summer to the winter.
How did the electric kettle come about? Here's Creative Kingdom to tell us how.
The British didn't invent the kettle. That was down to the ancient Mesopotamians. But they took ages to boil, and they were a bit unwieldy. As time went on, they got smaller, but it wasn't until the late 19th century that they went electric. But you couldn't immerse the heating element in water, so they were a bit rubbish. Finally, in 1922, along came Arthur Leslie Large, who worked at Bull Pitt & Sons in Birmingham. He took a length of electrical wire, wrapped it around a metal core, and covered that in a metal tube that went inside. Finally, the kettle was freed from the shackles of the stove and allowed to run free on the kitchen counter. Proof once again that when it comes to creativity, innovation, and keeping the world on the boil, in Birmingham Mint.
In London, there are always small theatre groups looking for premises to perform in, and occasionally something special comes along. So, when a dilapidated fire station became available, one company couldn't resist the challenge.
The building was designed in 1881 and was really one of the first model fire stations, because the fire brigade itself, as we know it, was really in its infancy at that time. So we have a fire station here, of course, designed for horse-drawn appliances. The horses, of course, were beginning to be phased out. The equipment that was then mechanised wouldn't fit in the doors. So within a very short space of time, the fire station became redundant. And then the theatre came. And the theatre really has been the saviour of this building.
We got involved because South London Theatre got in touch with us. They had this extraordinary historic building. As you can see, it's in a very dilapidated condition, and they really wanted to restore it and give it a much better use and continue to operate as a theatre and offer more to the community. And it's a building at risk, and our grant of nearly £2 million will help to take it off the at-risk register.
We're standing in one of the two theatres that we did have. We had a black box theatre here called Prompt, which is now open to the sky and looks very different from how I remember it. And just over there is Bell Theatre, which was the other more traditional one.
The role that this building has played as you know, being at the heart of the West Norwood community, and the fact that we're going to be able to open this space up again, not just for SLT, but for the wider community as well, is going to be amazing. And now that that journey has started, I think we are really excited and really happy, and we can't wait to be back here, back in our home.
The last steam-driven brick factory in Europe closed in the 1970s. However, the machinery inside it is still fully functioning and now part of an immersive museum experience that documents an important part of local history. That's Solon checked out the factory that helped build an industry for generations of local people.
Belzorden Brickworks is the last steam-powered brick museum in Europe. Although the factory closed down in 1974, all the machinery is still fully functioning, and although too fragile to use on a daily basis, visitors are able to view every stage of the brick-making process.
The process would be, first of all, they would dig the clay. So say you were digging the clay in the morning, it would go onto wagons, be sent up to the factory. It would go through this lovely machine here, the pug mill, where the clay would be squished and squashed and then extruded onto the cutting table where it would be chopped into 8 bricks. They'd then be loaded onto wheelbarrows and whisked off down to the drying sheds where the brick would stay for 2 weeks. Once it's dry enough, it would go into the kiln and it would burn for 3 days in the kiln and then off to market.
It was closed down in 1974 when the Health and Safety at Work Act was introduced, but elements of the old factory still exist in well-known areas today. Swanwick Lakes are the old clay pits, and you can still see some remnants of the conveyor belt used to transport the bricks there to this day.
Well, this is part of local history. This is part of the heritage of the area. We have lovely stories, the social history, the people who still have family locally. We have people who visit and look at the old archive photos we have on the wall, and they recognise grandparents or uncles. It's very expensive. It's a very old building. It needs maintenance. The steam engine, you have to have fuel for that. Power, everything, is expensive. Just opening costs us money.
In its heyday, the factory churned out 20 million bricks a year and was a pillar of the community. But now, over a century after the factory first opened its doors, the machinery is still well oiled and firing on all cylinders.
We often see the statement, a dog is for life and not just for Christmas. But equally, guinea pigs suffer from the same fate. In Nottingham, one rescue centre is overrun with the cuddly pets and often find themselves turning newcomers away.
It's that time of year again where I visit the Avalon Guinea Pig Rescue in Woolerton. It's busier than ever, according to its founder, Shaz Kelly, who recently took in 100 guinea pigs in one day.
More or less maximum at the moment. I mean, I suppose if someone's desperate, we can help, but, it's maximum. They can come and foster. If they've got a cage, we can sometimes provide a cage. If we've got any spare, they can come and foster a pair. It's normally the boys we need fostering because they take up the hutch room.
Last time I visited, Shaz had been rescuing giant guinea pigs, which don't make ideal pets, and there's still more coming in.
Right, this is Doofus. Big boy. He weighs 3.5 kilos. Bred for food in Peru, sadly. Over here, they're bred for as pets and sometimes show pigs. A lot are imported from Europe, cost quite a bit of money. They only live 3 years. They've got a heart that works twice as fast as it should do for the normal sized guinea pigs. So, semi-wild, so they'd be no good as a pet.
Why was it guinea pigs for you, Shaz?
Because they're the nicest animal on the planet. They're nice and calm. They don't hurt you. They don't argue. They might be between themselves, but they don't hurt humans. And they're the nicest animal for humans.
And that's it for this week's show, but you can catch up with previous episodes on the BBC website. That's bbc.co.uk/Digital Nation. Or why not check out the website of your own local TV channel? So until next time, goodbye.